Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my ongoing nightmare. This is First Ring Daily. I'm back home. Paul's, I believe, home and not still in an airport. How's it going, Paul?
It's good to be home. Although, as my wife welcomed me today, she said, "Today is going to hell in a handbasket. Also, you're the handbasket."
I
What she
like
meant
that.
by that was that I asked her to come downstairs for a couple of seconds, but then we ended up talking about a bunch of different things, and I basically wasted her entire morning. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I
Yeah.
missed you too. Sorry.
How Paul and I left each other yesterday because we were both in
Mhm.
Chicago was I got in my car and drove home. Paul drove to the airport. And Paul, how'd that work out for you?
The drive to the airport was fantastic. Well, actually, there was a lot of traffic. I have to say, there are two areas of the country I've avoided flying through. They are Chicago and New York because I've always had problems at those airports. And this is, of course, from years of experience living in Boston. Both of them are disasters in the winter for semi-obvious reasons, but both of them are disasters, period, because they're
Hmm.
disasters. And this trip was a healthy reminder of how terrible it is to fly in and out of Chicago. I was delayed coming to Chicago, which was awesome because I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning to make it to the flight on time, and then had to wait in the airport. Well, actually, waited on the plane in this case before we left. You may recall. I think we talked about this. They eventually let us get off the plane to get drinks and stuff. Then the way home, George and I Ubered on the way home. That was nice. So we got to talk a bit, and then I when you're in an airport, there's these boards, right? There's screens that they hang in
Hmm.
portrait mode, and this, bang, bang, bang. It's like departures, right? In a place like Chicago, they need like five of these in a row because there's so many flights. And I got a text message from United that said my flight had been delayed because of actually was I texted you the reason I remember some kind of weird phrase they used I'd never heard before. I had to go ask someone what it meant, and what it meant was that there was weather somewhere in the country, and it wasn't Chicago's fault. So I looked at the board, and there was only one flight that was delayed for that reason, and that was my flight. There were a couple of flights that had little notes, but I think it was like the only flight delayed at all on the entire board, like five of these things. So I looked it up on weather.com because I had to
Hmm.
know what this was. And if you look at the map of the country, there's this kind of green, stormy looking thing going through from like the Mississippi to the coast. Just south of Philadelphia is where it hits. And I don't think it ever even touched Philadelphia. It's just south of Philadelphia. And when you kind of put it out over time, it kept going south. So I don't know.
Going
Anyway,
south, much like your travel experiences.
yeah. So I had a United Club pass. That place is actually kind of a shit show, to be honest, but whatever. It was better than being out with the general population. And yeah, I didn't get home until midnight. So I, it's an hour and 30-minute flight. Like
Hmm.
I think I arrived at, what time did we leave? Like 2 o'clock ish. So
Yeah.
probably 3:30 ish. I was at the airport. Five, add an hour, 4 hours of additional. Yeah, I had to get home and then drive an hour and 15 minutes. It was long. It was long. I'm sorry. I know I'm complaining. It was just.
I know we like hearing about your misery. It,
Thanks. How
you're,
how was your trip home?
Mine was
Uneventful.
fine.
Did you get the cheese?
Butter, the butter.
Butter. Sorry.
I did. Yeah, I went out of my way to buy butter. Is literally what I did on the way home,
Hmm.
and my wife was happy, and that was it. It was
I went out of my way and I got to drink cucumber water. So
hmm,
that's what they had in the United Club. I don't know.
wow.
Threw my bags to someone by mistake down the escalator. That was fun. Fortunately, she was a little old lady, so she handled it really well. And then I don't know.
I mean, hips are free at that age, so
Yeah, they were going to be replaced anyway. Am I right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on because this conversation is just going so well. For those curious about the behind the scenes video, because I've gotten many questions about when it's going to go up,
Mm.
it's about halfway done. Typically, I'm editing these things on the go, like as we're recording them. But Paul, I don't know if you were aware, but I was doing a bunch of other video editing.
I was aware. Brad was very busy on this trip.
Yeah.
It tired the hell out of me just watching you work.
God, you're such an ass.
I recorded a handful of videos with Brad. Brad recorded what looked like 117 videos.
Yep.
Yep.
And all edited right here on the Surface Book 2. I'm going to do my 6-month review follow-up here in the near future, maybe this week before I go on vacation. But, yep.
Yeah. It was busy. We were busy. And,
we were more busy than like Build or even Ignite or any of these other things.
Yeah.
Like, this was actually busy.
Traveling's always busy, and there's always things you got to do and all that stuff. But we were literally front to back busy on this trip, so we didn't have a lot of time to screw around. In fact, I think I observed this on the podcast, but if not, I stepped inside from the cab when I arrived and stepped outside for the first time when I went to the Uber to go home. The hotel's attached to the convention center. We never went outside. It was just busy.
Yeah, just busy. Busy. Microsoft was apparently busy because they rolled out the May update for the Xbox One, and I'm now wondering if my Xbox was updated or not. I should probably turn it on.
Yeah.
Before I went.
I'm on the Insider program, so I know mine already has it, but I wonder, what would that look like? They don't identify it that way in system,
I think the only way you really know is if you try to turn it on and connect to Xbox Live, and then it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says something about the version, but it doesn't, it's like 17.134.3036, which was released on May 10th, which is last week. But this is on the dev thing, so it's, I mean, this has it, but I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. I'm surprised they don't have a friendlier name in there, given the consumer focus of this device.
Just, whatever.
Not a big deal.
Yep. And while you're talking about this next one, because I didn't actually read this post, but I suspect I know what it's about. Microsoft needs a 1.2.
Well, yeah, you had written up the Google One thing, which I think is a great idea. And there's a couple of advantages that this thing has over what Microsoft offers, right? The most obvious one is that you get 2 terabytes of storage for I think it's for $120 a year, but instead of 1. With Microsoft and Office 365 Personal or Home, you get 1 terabyte of storage per user. But the second issue is, and the thing that Google is doing now, is you can buy tiers of storage above that. Microsoft doesn't offer that anymore. So you can buy another 2 terabytes and then another 2 terabytes, and you can keep going. And that's exactly what Microsoft needs to do. So my contention that Microsoft needs a Microsoft One, for lack of a better name, what I'm really trying to say is, more storage, tiered storage. They need to offer those as options. I thought we talked about this, but one of the things that I noticed was in the past, if you had Office 365 Home like I do, you could go into OneDrive, look for additional storage, and you could buy a little bit more storage. It was like 200 gigabytes or something. But the way it's set up now, unless I'm completely missing something, is that is not actually available anymore. If you're getting a terabyte of storage from Microsoft, you're capped out unless you have some little bonus storage things that you might have gotten for, using your camera roll that first time you got 15 gigabytes or whatever it was. There is no more additional storage to be had at this point on the consumer side. So they need to fix this. Too much of my life is in the cloud. I'm starting to bump into those limits. Let's see, I'm 51 years old. I'm thinking another 2 terabytes will do me, for the rest of my life. Whatever, but additional storage would be good.
Yeah. I'm definitely not
playing PUBG and the new desert map.
Can you keep talking about stuff for another 18 to 20 minutes potentially?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm thinking that they updated this as well.
So if they didn't, they're going to very soon, because there was just an update today, or a little mailing about PUBG getting that new map. I think that's coming either just maybe today, or it's coming really soon on Xbox.
Yeah, realistically, what I'm trying to do is make sure that the game is all up and running, so that when I do want to play it later, I can actually play it and not have to twiddle ye thumbs.
Yep. Also, you must have noticed that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was revealed, and as
I did
promised, you did or didn't?
Well, I saw that it was revealed, but I know nothing about it.
So they're going back to the boots on the ground thing like they did in World War II. So no more jet packing and wall running. Although there's actually some little, I don't know what you call them, but little perks or whatever that will zip you around the map a little faster. But for the most part, that stuff's gone. There's no traditional single player campaign, which I think is a great idea because I don't believe anyone plays that stuff. And my evidence to that is you never see single player DLC, do you? No one is ever releasing like, here's a new campaign on Call of Duty. Everyone plays multiplayer. And multiplayer encompasses a lot of things now because there are new modes in Call of Duty World War II. There's zombies, which has been around for a long time. This new game will have both of those things. But it's also going to have a battle royale mode. And that's exactly what I've been saying about games like PUBG and Fortnite, which is that game, that whole game should just be a map. It's a map type or a game mode on Call of Duty. And they are actually doing that for Black Ops 4, which I think is smart.
Yeah, so the game appears to be working pretty well. I mean, I don't want to wreck my stats by not,
So I'm just going to unplug it. Yeah, let me just keep talking and you can play around.
Yeah,
you just have to promise to be aggressive.
I mean, look, folks, I realistically haven't probably played PUBG in 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. But, yep. Paul, one of the things I did notice, and I'll see how you feel about this, but I actually think...
this on your computer or on your Xbox?
Xbox.
Okay.
I'm just going to fly over to these little houses here. I honestly think that 1803 is probably the most aggressive rollout of Redstone 5. I mean, you saw Tina, George, and Tim all got it at, I was going to say Build, but Chicago.
That's right. Yeah. There's, I guess we have to kind of call this anecdotal still, but I hear this from people all the time. People are just getting it. My wife, I had wiped out a computer for her. I opened the lid and, what do you need to install? It was like Chrome, Office, okay. And as we're doing it, the little pop-up comes up and she had gotten 1803. And it's like, seriously? Like, I mean, we weren't looking for it either. It wasn't like we went into Windows Update. I wonder what's new here. Yeah, that's really interesting to me because the other little anecdotal bit of information I have is that this one is actually, in fact, really buggy. There's lots of problems. I loaned Mary Jo that NVX2. She updated to a cumulative update for 1803 and got a blue screen. I've already done recorded my own, experiences with blue and green screens on 1803, and I get lots of emails and people on Twitter and everything. I mean, it's what we would call, like in the intelligence world, we would call this chatter.
Chatter
that suggests, right, that something is off. Microsoft has told me that there are no problems, that this is no more or less reliable or unstable or whatever than the previous couple of releases. But the chatter, if you will, from those two releases was very positive, very positive. In fact, it got kind of weird after a while because after 2 or 3 weeks, you're like, I really haven't heard much in the way of complaints. This time around, it's been very different. So we've got these two contrasting things. I mean, part of it might be that they're being so aggressive.
Yeah.
That you're seeing more of the problems up front.
So for those keeping score at home, but it's not Paul, I now have a Scar with a HoloLens, and I'm just going to keep up in here.
Scar looks familiar, probably from my Modern Warfare days.
Yep.
Scar H, I think they called it.
Paul, I was very lazy today for multiple reasons, other than I've seen you too much. And I don't
you
want
and
to
me
drink.
both. Yeah.
You got anything else for today?
Jeez, always that lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. No, I'm going to try to get Ask Paul done today. I've kind of stumbled into that with a sense of distraction, and I want to put the effort it requires. I don't like to just gloss over this stuff, but
yep,
I will try to do that today. I'm so unbelievably tired. Just from sitting on my ass for 5 days straight or whatever it was. But not really.
Cheese curds.
Not really. How about you? The cheeseburger incident.
Well, cheese curds too. A lot of cheese
curds. My wife asked me this morning if I wanted cheeseburgers for lunch, and I said, yeah, but let me tell you how I want them. Plain with no cheese, no condiments, no salt, and also no silverware, even though I'm going to eat it without a bun.
There was a minor hamburger incident. We're not talking about the menus on mobile websites.
I have a pet peeve about really bad customer service. It's you probably didn't notice. I was subtle about it, but just I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Brad?
Well, I'm going to finish out this game of PUBG here.
As you should.
if everything goes according to plan, the behind the scenes video might get done today, if we're lucky, and that'll get posted. And then, yeah,
I think what you should do is project that screen onto the podcast, and we could watch it live.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's an easy way.
A lot of Brad just laying on a floor in a building waiting, I think, is what we're going to be seeing.
Well, fortunately, I'm inside the circle. For those who understand, well, it's kind of hard to see there. I am inside the circle, so I'm actually doing pretty well. This is a solo game.
How many people are left there? What does that say? 76, 16? I can't remember.
We're down to 74.
Yeah.
So problem is I'm going to be ill-equipped without all the stuff that I need. But
well, Scar Itch is pretty good, though. That's a pretty good gun.
But problem is I only found 30 rounds, so I need more bullets.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you, Paul. Well, oops. Well, folks, that wraps it up for today. We will be back normal schedule, I think, next week. It should be back to Plain Jane First Ring Daily. As always, we appreciate everybody tuning in and be on the lookout for all the stuff we're about to toss up onto Thurrott later today.